the door, wedging a foot behind it to prevent them from pushing past her. It was a nice idea, though I knew it'd do little good if they wanted to get inside. "How can I help you?" Her tone was just as it ought to have been, polite, firm, and innocent. "We just got word that your son Fritz has failed to report for military service today." I tilted my head, curious about why they had come before the day was over. Surely other boys had failed to report in. Why did they take all this trouble to check on Fritz? Then I answered my own question. Fritz's file. The GDR already considered Fritz a potential enemy to the state. Above nearly anyone else, they would make sure Fritz was in their custody. "He still intends to go," Mama said. "In fact, my daughter and I were just going to join him on his way very soon." "Where is he?" the officer asked. "Perhaps we can bring him to meet you." Mama hesitated. I could see her mind working for the exact words that might technically allow her to avoid telling a lie. I rarely went to so much effort. "He can't be far away right now. His things are here, so I know we'll see him soon." "Of course," he said. Of course. He said that as if he didn't believe her. "Well, Frau Lowe, we will wait outside the apartment for him to come. As you said, I'm sure we'll see him soon." Mama nodded, then shut the locked door behind him. She didn't need to tell me what to do next. As quietly as possible, we raced through the apartment, destroying anything that made it look as if we were packing to leave. I tousled my bed, Mama put dishes in the sink, and we put away anything that had been left out as intended gifts or to take with us. The notes on the china and Bible were ripped up and flushed down the toilet. So was my note to clear Anna of any suspicion. That left an ache inside me, but I promised to find myself a way to help her at once. But I promised myself to find a way to help her once I was on the other side. If I reached the other side. None of that was certain now. From the front room, we could see into the street where the Grenzer cars were waiting, almost acting as barricades to our building. Curfew began in less than an hour. Afterward, getting to the tunnel would be very difficult, if not impossible. Worse still, I knew it wouldn't be long before the Grenzers would demand answers for where Fritz was, and what could we possibly say when their answers came? Mama said things for the microphones about how Fritz would be back soon and about how silly the officers would feel for ever wondering about him. But fear clutched at my throat like a noose, and I could barely answer. It seemed senseless now to pretend. With every tick of the clock, the Grenzers would become increasingly convinced that Fritz wasn't going to show up, which would lead them to one of two conclusions. Either he was escaping the country on his own, or else we were helping him hide somewhere. Whatever they decided, the Stasi would be here soon with questions we absolutely could not answer, no matter how they threatened us. Or worse, if we talked, it would cost Fritz's life and Papa's and Dominic's, even Officer Mueller and his family if they came. When I looked up, there didn't appear to be any officers in the back window. Maybe we could use a rope or something to lower ourselves down. But it would take us past the windows of apartments below ours, and someone was bound to see and report us. Besides, we had no rope here, and the sheets we might have tied together for an escape were hanging on from a clothesline at the Welcome Building. Mama cheerfully suggested we might go for a walk, offering the microphones an excuse that we'd find Fritz ourselves. But we both dismissed that idea without further conversation. The Grenzers wouldn't just let us walk away, and even if they did, we'd certainly be followed. To my mind, something so awful it made my toes curl inside my shoes, but I couldn't ignore it anymore. Expecting that Mama and I would arrive soon, Fritz and Papa would open that tunnel. Tonight. They would wait as long as possible for us to come, hoping for the best, and silently wondering if the worst might happen. At some point, it would become obvious that we weren't coming. They would see the instability of the tunnel, discuss the Grenzers' investigation directly overhead, and conclude the only logical thing they could. Tonight was our last chance. Fritz would be forced to cross into the west without us. By morning, Mama and I would be in a Stasi prison. The thought of that terrified me, but I had always known things might end this way, and I had to be strong, or at least pretend that I was for Mama's sake, since she looked as afraid as I was. She'd probably been thinking the same thing, though neither of us could freely discuss it here. Another knock came to the door, and Mama went to answer it. This time the Grenzers didn't wait for courtesies before they barged in to search our home. There was nothing to find. Mama and I had made sure of that, and in full view we had left Fritz's bags packed for the military, hoping it would look like that was still his plan. They were thorough in their search, looking in closets, under beds, and behind doors, even in places where no human body could fit. When they began opening drawers and rifling through papers, I realized they were looking for more than just Fritz. They wanted grounds for arrest, his arrest and ours. For the first time, I was grateful that Mama had made us clean so thoroughly. Nothing in our apartment led to the tunnel or to any sign of us planning an escape. We stood in the center of the front room, Mama and me holding hands. My clutch on her was fierce, but she whispered that we must remain calm. Finally, one officer approached us. I recognized him as Victor, Fritz's old friend. If Victor remembered me, he gave no sign of it. Victor was with the Stasi. I remembered that all too well. Our apologies for any inconvenience to you and your daughter, Victor said. You understand that at this point it is clear that your son is not planning to report tonight? I can't give you any explanation, Mama said. Nor am I asking for one, Victor replied. But if he is not here by curfew, we will bring you and your daughter in for a conversation with my superiors. They will demand an explanation, and you will provide one to them. The way he ended his sentence turned my stomach into knots. Mama couldn't say a word in response, and I only gripped her hand tighter. Victor frowned down at me. You and your brother are very close, no? Where do you think he is? I shrugged lamely. From his expression, he obviously knew that I was holding something back, something big, but he wasn't authorized to pry those secrets from me. That was for the interrogators to do. And they would pry or dig or tear those secrets from me using methods I couldn't begin to think about without feeling sick. I wouldn't pretend to be strong enough to resist them. I only hoped I could hold out long enough for Fritz to get away. Ooh, what's going to happen? All right, write a $1 summary, please.